Okay, let's talk about what's next. So you have your topic selected. Some of you who didn't contact me, you contacted me. Wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. Hope you're healthy. Stay home, stay healthy. Avoid public gatherings, avoid public places. Okay, so where were we? So some of you contacted me about your topics. Good, we talked about them. I think I've heard from almost all of you, but if you haven't contacted me yet about your topic, please remember it needs to be approved, and we're moving on from here. So the last time we talked about main points and how to organize them, and we also talked about transitions and a little bit of research. We also talked about things like connective devices, all of that, right? So now we're going to jump kind of into the outlining portion. But I have to do a few things before that. First of all, I need you to send me your work. We're going to do this through Google Classroom. So the sheet that I printed out, the planning sheet that you should have printed out, that you should have completed, I want to check it. So some people have already submitted it. The way that they've done it is that they have taken a photo and just submitted it through Google Classroom. So that works, okay? And if necessary, I'll provide feedback if it's necessary. All right, so the planning sheet should be done, and now we're gonna move on to outlining, but first I kind of just need to talk about evidence and information, the information that goes inside of your body paragraphs. All right, so as far as evidence goes, for the most part, you need to just fill your speech up with info. I mean, keep this in mind, right? We are informing somebody. The whole goal is to have your audience, when you're done with your speech, feel like they learned something from your speech, right? And so, first of all, what does it even mean to learn something? How does one teach something if it's kind of complicated? Well, it's going back to basics, right? One of the things that they'll teach you if you ever become a teacher, or if you ever or you're gonna have to teach people things in your life. So how do we take something that's complicated and help somebody understand it? You have to break it down, right? So you break it down into little bite-sized pieces. Let's take a skill, for example. I need to learn how to, we all remember, right? We all remember how we used to be able to, we could all tie our shoes, no problem. But we remember that time when we were learning how to tie shoes. And it wasn't easy at first. And we needed to go through different steps. So, I mean, if you ask me right now to tie my shoe, I could do it, right? Like a ninja. I don't even have to look. But back when I was younger, when you were younger, there was a whole process. You had to, right? It depends on how you learn. But for me, it was make a bunny ear, that's one. Make another bunny ear, that's another. Then you're gonna pen. I didn't do it right. Right? And yet, so there's that learning. But it's about breaking it down. Bunny ear. And that's the way we kind of get the audience to kind of retain info. You're not going to be using bunny ears, but you should perhaps have some sort of mnemonic device or something that helps your audience retain info, especially if what you're getting into is kind of complex, especially if you're trying to teach us how to do something. Give us an acronym, right? So that, each letter maybe, how do I tie a shoelace? Well, it's simple. S stands for start one loop. I stands for invert the other loop. L stands for loop a little loop, right? Whatever it is, these types of things help us retain information. So depending on your topic, you're not just going to tell us, you're going to teach us. And teaching us requires breaking things down. It requires us to give it in a way that is bite-sized and manageable. And again, let's reiterate the point that I was making in the last video. You always want to review. You always want to preview, right? Tell the person what you're going to tell them, and tell them what you've told them, right? That's key when it comes to just getting your audience to grasp what you're saying. So the body of your speech is going to have the stuff. That's all of your information. Sometimes I'm going to refer to it as evidence. But in order to get that right, you need to do the research. So really quick, what I want to do first is I kind of want to go over just ways to help you do some research. And that's pretty simple. Now, if you think about what most people do, right, when you say, I need to research this, they just go into they Google it, right? And they just type in the name of the thing that they're researching. But we want to kind of see what else is out there. We want to try to get as broad a search as possible. So one of the ways that I tell my students to do that is to vary your search terms, right? If you are careful with the way you word your searches, then you're going to come back with different results, and you want to click around. Don't just take the first website that Google spits back at you. We could talk about how Google organizes their search hits or whatever your returns, right? What comes first and why? We'll get into that probably when we talk about persuasive speeches.
And also by population.
It's by what's clicked the most, and
that's what I meant by population.
Yeah. Population is how many people are in a place.
Well, now you know what I meant.
Yeah. So it's basically popularity. It's very similar, right? Population. Okay. Okay, so today we're going to talk about evidence. We're going to get into the outline and the slideshow. Now, this is something where it's weird because I have to kind of teach both of these simultaneously, and as you're planning or creating your outline, you want to be thinking about your slideshow at the same time. How is your outline going to coincide with the slideshow? I've had some students who will create the slideshow first because they're visual thinkers, and they say, okay, this is what my speech will look like. You could do that, but don't just jump into making a slideshow until you've heard my lesson, which might be later today or maybe the next installment, right, about effective slideshows and slideshows do's and don'ts. Just some other things you want to keep in mind, that you're going to watch some informative speeches on YouTube over the next couple of days, right? And I'm going to want you to kind of evaluate them, what's good about them, what isn't. You're probably going to have to do a little bit of a write-up. You'll probably do a peer evaluation sheet type of thing for the YouTube speeches that I'm going to have you watch. All right, so as I was talking about just before, we want to consider our search terms, right? So using effective search terms and varying your search terms, right? So first of all, just simply typing in something like, to Google, facts about. Let me zoom in here a little bit more. Right? Facts about. That works, right? Facts about blank, whatever your topic is. Okay, how about studies on or about, right? That totally works too. Or research on, or overview about, or overview on, or info about, or understanding blank. Okay, these are all different things that, depending on what's out there, you're going to get different results. And some might be useful. Of course, you want to be discerning when it comes to selecting your sources. You want to make sure that it seems like it's credible. Statistics about. We're going to be talking more about statistics. It's important, not just for like a persuasive speech, but even for an informative speech, especially when you're getting into things like relevancy. Questions about, right? Just, maybe either questions that you need to have answered or anticipating questions from the audience. How to, right? Especially if you're going to show us how to do something. Okay, so I want to teach you how to spin a pen, right? In your fingers, not like that, like this. Oh, it's hard to do from behind the camera, right? Oh, there we go. Okay, and let's find out how to do that step by step. Best ways to, right? Other search terms, just varying tips and tricks for it. It depends on the speech. And since we mentioned slideshows before, right, and that's a visual element, please don't neglect to do an image search, right? Do one. Do more than one. You never know. You're going to find something that might look perfect for your slideshow. Remember, we are visual creatures, so if you really want us to understand something, sometimes it's just about showing it to us and explaining the picture to us. Don't forget that a image is awesome when it comes to grabbers, too. All right, so let me switch camera angles here. All right, so do your research, and if it's something that you're familiar with, I'd say that you should the topic is something that you feel really confident with, and in that case, a half hour's worth of research, perhaps, to supplement what you're going to kind of provide. But if it's something that is a little bit more complex that you feel like you're learning on as well, like as you go along, hopefully it's not something that you're learning for the first time, but it's something that you're learning more about, then you want to spend a little bit more time researching that. Maybe even talking to people who are informed in that topic. All right, so today we're going to take a look at outlining, and in particular, my structure. And you have to understand that this is just my structure. Rule number one for doing well when you get into college, is just doing what the professor says, right? You might have one professor who tells you to do an outline this particular way, and another one who told you to do it this particular way. Just do what they say. Give them what they want, right? And in this case, it's very much, right, for my outline, is very much an exercise in direction following. So I'll kind of show you an example of what your outline should look like when you're finished. I'll also show you an example of what your outline should not look like, kind of like a good example and a bad example from past student work, all right? So we'll take a look at that a little bit later. Now, before I get ahead of myself, I have attached some documents. Probably by the time I publish this video, I will have some documents up on Google Classroom. They look like this. What does this say? Basic outlining, okay? And this is organizing the preparation outline. And I want you to look at these. It kind of just, it's a good overview. It's important that you don't necessarily have to print them up. They're good to print up, but I think that you should definitely read these. You have to. Like, if we were in class, I would spend time reading these with the class and talking about them. But you just read them yourself, all right? It'll give you an idea of outlining, right? And it's not rocket surgery. You could do it, just follow the directions, all right? Okay, so let's talk about specifically the format that I'm asking you to use or to follow for my outlines. And I'll even show you an example in a moment. Oh. Okay. I'm doing another lesson.
I was gonna ask you to make me grilled cheese.
Okay, I'll make you grilled cheese.
She changed her mind. She wanted quesadillas instead.
Looks good, right?
Yeah, but I'm taking mine.
Looks good, right, Cassie? Okay, so you get your three main points, right? Main point 1, main point 2, main point 3, and you are basically breaking your main points down into subpoints. That's the nitty-gritty, the stuff of your speech, right? So you see, first of all, I have a Roman numeral 1 here for a main point. I have a Roman numeral 2 here. I have a Roman numeral 3 here. Now, I don't care. I don't care if you're going to be using, the letter A here instead of Roman numeral 1, and you want to put B here. I don't care about that. Or you want to use C here. That's fine. And then this could be Roman numeral 1, and this could be Roman numeral 2. And this would not be Roman numeral 3. Notice that's a lowercase a. So, you might want to make that a regular 1, right? A regular 2. Notice this is a subpoint. So you have a main point. It depends. Some of your main points will have subpoints. Some of your subpoints will have subpoints. This is all about you just trying to organize your speech the right way. Okay, so let me give you an example really quick. Let's say I'm doing a speech on pens, right? I want to talk about different types of pens, okay? I want to talk about what kind of pens. I want to talk about fountain pens. I want to talk about ballpoint pens. What else is there? Let's also talk about felt tip pens, all right? The ones that are kind of like marker tips, all right? Like a Sharpie pen, for example, or those Papermate ones that are nice. All right, so let's talk about how I would do this with subpoints. So ballpoint pens. Ballpoint pens are the ones that have little ball points in the tip. It's literally a little ball bearing. So my main point would be ballpoint pens. My main point here would be, felt tip pens. And my main point here would be fountain pens, okay? And then I'd have that. So main point. So what would be my subpoints? Well, let's talk about it. So there are different types of ballpoint pens. There are, retractable, right? Retractable pens. There are capped pens. So that would be another subpoint. Now, there are different types of capped pens, right? Retractable is like a clicky. okay? And then you've got capped pens. And there are different types of capped pens. There are pull caps, and there are screw caps, right? So pull caps, screw caps, okay? And then we're going to have another type of ballpoint pen. Can you think of another? What? Erasable ballpoint pens. Yes, okay, great. All right, then I'm going to get into felt tip pens, and then I'll talk about different types. There's whatever. And then same thing, fountain pens. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. You want to kind of think in a way that you're organizing the info in the most logical and understandable way possible. And this is just kind of like an overview. I'm going to give you a more specific example of what I'm looking for with the outline. I don't care whether this is a Roman numeral 1 or a regular 1, just as long as you're being consistent, right? So my subpoint is a regular 1. My next subpoint is a regular 2. My next subpoint is a regular 3. My subpoints are A and B, right? Lowercase a, b. I don't care whether you're using Roman numerals or what, just as long as you're being consistent. And also notice, okay, main point. Where is this? Look at this line here. Look at that. See that? Okay, then I indent. Now look, there's a subpoint, so I'm doing a double indent, maintaining this structure. Okay? All right. So that makes sense, right? So let's take a look at an actual outline from a student's speech from the past, right? I found an outline. I want to show it to you because it'll serve as a model of what yours should look like and some of the requirements that I'm asking for. We'll take a closer look in a minute, but just in general, from a wider angle view, this is what this student's outline ended up looking like. Okay, we will talk about it in greater detail. I blacked some things out of this just because. You don't need to know why. All right, so let me let's take a closer look and see how it is, what it looks like, the requirements, my guidelines, my expectations. And as I go over this, I think you're going to definitely want to take some notes on this, right? Because these are my guidelines. So you should have a sheet of paper in front of you that says guidelines for the outline. And then I want you to jot some of this stuff down. Feel free to pause the video when I say to write it down. All right, wait, instead of taking notes, why don't I just give you the guidelines here? I think I'll post this document onto my Google Classroom. So look, here they are. You can screenshot this or whatever. Let me just go through it. You could pause it. All right, so guidelines for the informative speech outline. First of all, your intro and conclusion, I want to be written out fully. That's going to be word for word. Only your intro and conclusion will be written out word for word. The reason I say that is because I want to see that you have that fully planned out. You know exactly what you're going to say. And that, although I advise committing things to memory, that might be something that you might almost want to commit to memory. All right? Don't read. And if you think that you're going to read, then don't give your speech with a word for word intro or outline. You can kind of just make it a little bit more bare bones sentence fragments so that you're maintaining eye contact. All right. So intro and conclusion should be word for word. Intro needs to include your grabber, relevancy statement, thesis statement, where you flat out say where your topic is. Today, I'll be informing you about, okay, credibility statement, preview of main points. The body, this is a big one. Notice it's in blue. The body should be in sentence fragments only. I'll be talking more about that. But basically, you have to understand where I'm coming from. I don't want long, complete, detailed sentences in your body. We are avoiding the temptation to read. And I have seen time and time again, when students have too much info on their outline, they end up losing eye contact. They end up reading. So the way to do that is just to have like bullet points or fragments, phrases, something like that. Now, you need to find a balance so that when you're giving me an outline, I know what you're talking about in a particular item in the body, right? But I don't want it to be so detailed that you're going to end up reading. So let me understand what you're saying there. And by doing that, like in sentence fragments, and the goal is to not read, right? So the more bare bones your outline when you go up to the podium, I'm approaching this as if you're going up to a podium, the better. You must make references to your visuals/slideshows. It must be embedded in your outline. So I'll be talking more about that, but I want you to be considering your outline with regards to your slideshow. How do the two coincide? If you are in main point number 2 and your third slide refers to main point number 2, I want to see next to main point number 2 that you have in parentheses, see slide 3, okay? Point to slide 3. So put these in bold. I'll show you the sample outline. It's not on Cancer. You must have a minimum of 3 sources. These sources must be embedded into your outline. Okay, so for main point 2, subpoint B, I'm giving you this bit of information and it's coming from this source. And I want to see that the source is in your outline. I also want you to have transitions and internal previews and signposts, okay, inside of your outline. I'll show you an example. Okay, so between your main points, this could be a complete sentence. That's totally fine. But your transitions can be complete sentences. But you will literally have, now that I've told you about blank, let's move on to blank between your main points for your outline. The conclusion should include, as we've already learned, the review of points, restatement of relevancy, and some sort of a clincher or impact statement. Don't forget, we can also have, for more info, go to, right, if we want to learn more about it. As far as source citations, yes, you're embedding them into the outline, but I also want you to just give me a works cited at the end, all right? 12-point font, or I'll tell you what, I'll be generous. You could go down to 11. All right. Times New Roman, I'll tell you what, I'll be generous. You could use Cambria also. And no bullets. Okay, this is how students end up just losing simple points. They don't follow my directions. They're not doing things with like Roman numerals and indenting. They're just giving me a list of bullet points. Stop that. Okay. No, we don't want the bullet. Okay, follow the outline format I taught you. Indentations, main points, subpoints, subpoints, and so on. Other things to keep in mind? What else? It says, refer to the sample speech outlines that I'm giving you. I'll be showing that you in a little bit. You should also add notes to your outline about where you're supposed to be with regards to your visuals, okay? And, okay. All right, same thing there. All right, so got that? Those are the guidelines. I think I'll post this document. Now, let's look at this young lady's outline here, right? So she did a speech on anime. She doesn't have a title. I wrote title, okay? I added that. And but she's, for the most part, following my guidelines. And that's good, okay? Easy way to just get the grade that you're looking for. Follow directions. Okay, so she's got her grabber. If you don't already know, one of my lifelong hobbies has been drawing. Oh, okay. Let's get into the relevancy. Now we've all doodled and colored our favorite characters as kids. However, anime over the course of many years has changed the way I draw and how I felt. All right. That's not too relevant to the audience. I don't see. I would say, look, anime is one of the fastest growing, mediums of animation nowadays. And it might be helpful for all of us to know about the different kinds of anime, or, I don't know, what's something better. And the grabber isn't that great too. This was a solid speech. It really was, but those two parts could be improved. Okay, credibility. According to my anime list, there are 43 different genres of anime. That's not a credibility statement. She's just citing a source, and that's interesting info. But remember, the credibility is who are you to talk to us about this? She's an anime fan. She needs to say something like, I've been reading anime for the past 22 years, and I'm only 18 years old. So, right? That's why I'm a credible source. And plus, I've written 5 anime books and blah, 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 blah. Okay? So credibility is about how you are a source that's worth listening to. And then she's got her preview of main points. Today, I'd like to inform you of the most popular genres of anime and what makes the audience drawn to it. Again, that could be improved too. I want like those signposts, right? Today, I'm going to talk to you about blank, blank, and blank, right? So let's get into those specifics. Let us know where you're going there. She's got 3 points. I don't see the main points, the 3 points in her preview of points. Okay, but look, she's got this transition here. So it says, one of the most popular genres of anime is slice of life. Okay, that's fine. I guess that's not much of a transition. That's going to be something where you say, first, let's look at slice of life. Okay, so that's giving me an idea of what we're talking about. All right, but it's fine, totally fine. And then she's got her main point, slice of life. She was going to be talking here. She should have a little bit more info on this. What is slice of life? So she's got a source here. That's good too. She's going to be answering this. This is her anticipating just talking. Kind of, it's extemporaneous. Slice of life contains no action, plot, or conflict. Okay. Why is it so popular? There's a difference in environment and the characters are relatable and believable. So this is a type of anime subgenre, right? So it's called slice of life. Now she's got her transition here. So first of all, I like the fact that her grabber, although her intro could be better in general, she's got her grabber, she's got her relevancy, credibility, preview of main points. She also kind of just needs that. The thesis is there. Okay. Anime is not your normal day-to-day cartoon. That's persuasive. That's kind of a persuasive statement. So, yeah. Okay, so it could have been better, but everything's there. Transition, right? She got a transition, main point, slice of life. Notice, indentation, subpoint is indented, subpoint, right? All that, good. Transition. Following slice of life is romance. Now, there are many different forms of romance. Let's start with, okay, that's censored. All right. This was a very interesting speech because it was so visually oriented too. She really helped us understand what anime is and the different subgenres because of her visual aids. And you can imagine, how would you do a speech like this without giving us visuals? We want those visuals. It really helps us. She's got her transition. Finally, we have horror. Okay, I want more of that. Internal preview. I want more of that. Internal summary. So now that we've talked about slice of life and romance, let's talk about the third genre, horror, right? And we want that third, okay? So horror, and then she gets into that, all right? Okay, so what are the different types of horror? There's psychological horror, there's gore, and then there's thriller, okay? And then she's got her conclusion. And the conclusion is written out, okay? Completely. That way I know that, you really thought this through. You can maybe even commit that part to memory. Again, we want to avoid reading. She should have a works cited down here. Although she's put sources in here. I liked how her other sources were in color, like blue. But although she's got sources in here, I want still just a works cited thing there. So this is kind of an idea. Let me zoom out. No. So this is an idea. I like that she's got her transitions. She's following directions. Content-wise, could be a little bit better. And I like that she's got slide 2, slide 3, so we know what we're going to be looking at here. Overall, fine. Okay. What's next? So here's an example of one that I am not crazy about. It seems like it was done a half hour, maybe less, before class was due. It seems rushed. It's not following my guidelines, and these are and I stressed it in class. Look, just follow the directions and you'll do fine. But at least the kid turned something in, and at least he tried, I guess. But this look, structure-wise, right? First of all, it doesn't look like much care has gone into it. It's got relevancy, credibility, grabber, thesis statement, no preview of points. It's missing parts. This is how they spell I've, okay? I'll show you a picture of Hunter. Hunter, no capital, is a German shepherd that was about 4 months old who I was inches away from adopting. Inches. Okay, that I've been through, that credibility that I've been through, how about I've been through the process of buying and adopting dogs, and I failed at both, but, I know how the processes work, okay. All right, and, all right, so, and look at the body here, 3 main points. What is that? I don't get that. And here, no indentations. It's just not formatted the right way, So main point 1, main point 2, there's no indentations, there's no subpoint like an A or a lowercase a,
right? There's no sources. This is not how you spell than. That is how you spell them. That's not how you spell than. All right? Conclusion. And last but not least, you are supporting against puppy mills. That sounds okay, kind of like persuasive a little bit, right? You're guaranteed a perfect pet. That to me sounds persuasive. All right, so don't do what this kid did. Clevenim, pick a chop. Okay? So does that make sense? Right? The outline needs to be done a certain way. But another thing that I need you to keep in mind is your slideshow. While you are plotting out your outline, you also want to be thinking about how my slideshow is going to unfold. What slides will I have for my first main points and my subpoints possibly? What slides will I have for my second? And I also, you might want to do it side by side, right? But go slow with the slideshows because coming up soon will be a lesson on what to do and what not to do when it comes to slideshows. Like, the fatal errors of slideshows. We'll talk about that. Same thing, I'll show you examples of pretty good slideshows and examples of not so good slideshows from past students. So, do you have any questions? Any questions? Any questions? If you don't have any questions, then just get going. If you have questions, shoot me a text message. Oh, the mailman's here. That's the mail being delivered. Work on your outline. I'm still trying to think of ways that we will figure out the presentations. You're going to be delivering speeches, and I'm looking forward to them. And they're going to be happening before you know it, right? Soon you're going to be submitting your outlines. I'm going to give you feedback on those. We're going to have to pick out the order of presentations, and then you're going to be delivering speeches. Okay? So start getting things together. Next lesson will be about slideshows. I wonder if there's anything else I need to say. So I think that's pretty much about it for now. Second lesson, YouTube lesson is almost done. All right, so just a few things before we end here. When you're doing your outline, if you're not sure about your grabber, if you don't think it's good enough, compelling enough, you could leave me a note in your outline that says, in parentheses next to your grabber, Bowman, I need help with this. I want to see that you have tried something though. Don't just say, Bowman, I need help with this. I'm going to help you if you show me that you have been attempting it. You could have a couple of ideas for a grabber, but people tell me I'm awesome at grabbers, so I will help you with that. I don't know why. I could also help you with relevancy. If you're not too sure about how to make it relevant to your audience, I could help you with that. But I want to see that you have at least attempted a relevancy statement or two. Maybe you play around with one that might be better than another. I don't know. Whatever. But I'll help you. You could put in parentheses next to relevancy. Bowman, I need help with this, but here's what I'm thinking, okay? And that's totally fine. So it's time for you to start getting down to the outlining stage. As far as due dates and everything goes, just assume that I'm gonna be like, yo, this stuff is due soon, and have it done, or have it almost done, so that you could just turn it in. I will figure out the actual due dates. Today is what, Thursday? It's Thursday? Thursday the 19th. So yeah, your outline should be done by this weekend. Right? PowerPoint too, or not just, it could be a Google slideshow, it could be a Prezi, those are fine too. But that should be done soon too, all right? Now, I'm just gonna say, again, please stay safe, stay healthy, stay home. Stay home. I might go out for a walk, but you better believe that I will be at least 10 feet from any other human being.
Stay away from public places. Stay away from public gatherings. But stay close to your work, all right? Take it easy. Hope you're all doing well. I miss you all.